to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? If you say that you are mine, I'll be here till the end of time.
Yeah. So can I force an agenda for a few minutes here? Is that okay?
You're sure.
Okay, good. And can I already guarantee that you will come back? Because I mean, so I put out to my group. I have a group of women who are in relationships with the narcissist in their life, whether it's a spouse, a parent, an employer, that sort of thing. And I think everybody's pretty excited that I was going to have you on here today. And so this person had talked about a blog post that you had written, and I really like their question. So I hope this isn't catching you off guard or anything. So the person, and there was a lot of good feedback, and the person said, Ross has a blog post about how women with SLDD don't protect or shield their kids. And he said, tired and beaten down, they often shut down and disconnect from their parental responsibility to protect their children.
It is factual that almost all codependent parents sincerely do not want to harm their children. Some even go to extraordinary measures to protect them. Yet, despite their best intentions, they are overcome by the dysfunction that they brought to the relationship. Independent of their fears, their compulsive desire to satisfy their narcissist's unreasonable and unsatiable selfish needs depletes energy, time, and emotional resources that otherwise would be available to their children. The stark and most unfortunate reality is that the human magnet syndrome theory almost guarantees that codependent parents, like their single brethren, deeply and intensely fall in love with pathological narcissists. They predictably and reflexively become enveloped in ecstatic joy as they are finally delivered out of searingly painful loneliness into the arms of what seems like a dream soulmate lover. Despite fulfilling their life's ambition to have children, they choose to stay in harmfully dysfunctional relationships, even though the harm they and their children experience is seemingly unbearable. Trying to control a person who, by definition, cannot, while delusionally seeking their love, respect, and caring, maintains their complicity in the prison-like family experience.
The question I'm constantly trying to figure out, and I get asked so much, are the people that stay in relationships for the kids. But then I feel like, just from anecdotal evidence as a couples therapist, I mean, I'm very confident that when they are out of those relationships, then they show up better for their kids. And then there is one parent that's safe. But I feel like when the person's in that trauma, they can't see that. And I've tried to figure out a mathematical formula, an accurate, I don't know.
Okay, well, let me jump in and help clarify your question. So you're asking me, is it better to stay with the kids than leave the narcissist? I get that question a lot.
Right.
And it's not, it's a very easy answer, but it's complicated to navigate.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the person is an SLD and they, for whatever reason, the relationship is terminated and they have not done any of the work on their SLDD, I can guarantee with a 90% accuracy that the next person they're going to fall in love with, no matter how much they promise themselves that it won't happen again, is going to be a pathological narcissist. It's inevitable. That's how strong the attraction dynamic is with the human magnet syndrome. SLDD is not solved because you promise you don't want to hurt yourself or the kids anymore. So if you are in a situation and your narcissist is not dangerous to the children and more harmful to the spouse, and the kids have limited experience with that, then is it better to leave him or her and then to let the kids stay? But if you're going to leave that person and the next person you're going to hook up with, which will probably be very quickly, because pathological loneliness is a pain. And that is why SLDs rebound. then you're going to bring another narcissist into the family, and they're going to be better or worse depending on a lot of factors. So if you have a narcissist that you are, say, married to, and you don't want to do the work necessary to solve your SLDD, and that narcissist is contained to the point that their children are not in any imminent risk of emotional, psychological, or physical harm, and nor are you, the SLD, I'd say stay with the kids until you are strong enough, healed enough to know how to love yourself. And that's how you protect yourself. There's the thing, they teach you on the airplane, when the oxygen mask dropped down, you put it on yourself first, then you put it on your children. You can't protect your children if you can't protect yourself. In the case of domestic violence, abuse, sexual abuse, that's not a question that even deserves to be answered. It's pretty obvious. Get that out. But if you are hell-bent at solving your SLDD, then it's a no-brainer. And the way I explain why you must leave the narcissist is not to look in the here and now, but imagine, and it's a strategy or a trick that I use to help me make decisions. Imagine your child at 30 years old in therapy. Okay, what are they going to be like? The child who stays in their whole childhood, from birth to adolescence and college, in this terribly dysfunctional home, it is a 95 to 100% probability that they are going to become either pathologically narcissistic or SLDD. I start my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, with this chapter, and I talk about this concept of a relay race. You pass the baton on to the next generation. So anyone who thinks that it's better to stay in the marriage, they should reconcile that the children are going to be the next generation. And that is usually a selfish thing to do. And that is why I, in a very compassionate and empathetic way, I hold SLDs partially responsible to the stuff happening in a relationship. Although I empathetically suggest codependents should share the responsibility for harming their children, I refuse to attribute one-dimensional blame, lest we forget that these people were once defenseless children subjected to abuse, neglect, and deprivation at the hands of their own parents. Because one is you're attracted, two, you feel powerless, three, you're afraid consciously or unconsciously to leave because of this addiction, this pathological loneliness. Four is you're just doing what you've always known. And the SLDs, my clients who are SLDs tell me the same story about the SLD parent. And yes, it's real easy to get mad at the narcissist parent, but through processing, it's helpful for them to understand that the SLD parent, despite the more kindness, the more compassion, they chose their own safety over the children. And some hide it better than others. Some SLD parents don't hide it well. And for that, they're responsible. And the reason I teach people that, because you can't solve a problem if you don't know what it is. So knowing that I'm responsible means I have to solve it because I want to protect my kids. And so I say that with compassion and guidance and support, not to make people feel bad or ashamed. So to answer your question, if you are committed to solving your self-love deficit disorder, there is no situation where it's better to stay in the broken marriage. And the people that do that use the excuse that it's better for the kids. Well, that's a crock of bleep, bleep, bleep. Because if you get down to it, it's really a part of the denial system that denial is don't even know I am lying, an acronym. they don't even know they're afraid because they're too guarded to deal with the shame of it. So absolutely not. If you are in a broken relationship with a pathological narcissist, who we know because of the personality disorder cannot get better, you are going to subject your children to enough psychological harm that they might irreversibly be the next generation of pain and suffering, either the victim or the perpetrator. So I hope that answers your question. I know it's a little bit.
Ross, I mean, it's so good. And I'm not just trying to butter your bread here, but again, working with this population, I like that you're saying if the person is working on their self-love deficit disorder, I mean, that's what needs to happen maybe while they're in that relationship, but it's with this goal of then when I am enough, then I can leave. I love that. And then I haven't thought about, I have talked with plenty of those people that are older at 30 or whatever that age is. And it's the, why didn't my SLD leave? Yeah. Why didn't they leave? Why didn't, so I love that. And then, by the way, my 11-stage self-love recovery treatment program, the stage where you leave is number 6. Because if you leave before all the other foundational elements are not solved, or at least partially solved, you're going to relapse back into the drug of choice. No, that makes so much sense. That really does. No, I appreciate that. And I think that, and I love how you're saying it is with compassion, because I feel like, you've seen it far more than I have. I'm seeing it in my office, and people that are writing in from the podcast of they haven't worked on that SLD. They haven't found the self-love abundance. And so I had not looked at it that way of, some of them just feel like they got to rip the Band-Aid off and just get out. But then that is
sometimes that's why I delineated between escaping harm,
absolutely,
where that's more crucial and important than before you develop a better sense of self-love abundance or somehow start to mitigate the self-love deficit or deficiency.
No, it's perfect. Ross, that flew by, and I think I told
really
you
fun.
that it really was. So I would love to have you back on again, and anything that we can do to promote your work, I'll have that in the show notes. I want everyone to go buy Human Magnet Syndrome. Again, I've got a dozen of them that I've ordered for clients. And then what else? Where else can people find you?
It's www.selfloverecovery.com. You will find that is the hub for everything I do. Any questions about our weekend intensive retreat, my book, my seminars, just send us an email at help@selfloverecovery.com. And then we have the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ross Rosenberg, or just type in Ross Rosenberg in Google, and one of my videos I'm sure will come up.
I've watched enough of them that now the algorithm is showing me everything that you have and doing it more than once. So I feel like that's been great. So Ross, I would love to have you on another time. And thank you for taking the time. That was wonderful. So, all right, Ross, thank you. That was everything I had hoped it would be, and more.